in general. However, we are at the nascent stages of this digital transformation journey. But as I have already indicated, the foundation has been laid. But coming to the role of the academy, our main role in the whole process is learning and development. So the academy plays a very important role in terms of preparing not only the municipality, but also the community at large around the municipality for this digital era. So our focus has been developing the curriculum, and we participate even in the curriculum development of universities and other higher education institutions within the city. The intention is to shape the curriculum for the skills of the future. We have been able to partner with quite a number of tertiary institutions and TVET colleges. And central to that is to nurture knowledge ecosystem conducive to all exploration and applications. So by aligning our educational endeavors with the practical needs of our urban landscape, we aim to create a synergistic pathway towards a smarter city of eThekwini. The city has a very good vision of what it will look like for it to be a smart city. If I were to simplify it, we envision a future where AI becomes an enabler of sustainable urban development. We envision a future where we are going to have an automation of the processes, the systems, the operations in the city. The future where we are going to have automation of service delivery. And the future where, for example, we are able to use artificial intelligence to ensure that the city saves on expenditure. And I can safely tell you, for example, we started a very good initiative of drone training, and we have already seen the savings that come from the usage of drones on issues that historically have been very expensive for the city. So colleagues, I extend a heartfelt invitation to all of you as stakeholders to join us in the endeavor. Your expertise and collaboration and also your active engagement are indispensable in navigating the complex terrain that lies ahead. The discussions and insights garnered from this webinar will obviously serve as a catalyst, propelling us forward on a path of informed and sustainable AI integration. In conclusion, colleagues, the fusion of traditional wisdom with modern technology can script a new narrative for the city, making it one of smart urban development, rooted in community engagement and collaborative innovation. I thank you all for your attention, and I'm eagerly awaiting the fruitful discussions for today and the shared vision that will emerge from this engagement. Thank you, Program Director, and thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, Prof. Ngubane. I think that certainly, starts to speak to where we headed as a city and how we're going to get there. I think we're approaching. We've gotten to about 200 participants. So that's really wonderful to see so many people join us in this webinar. So for those that have just joined, welcome again to this webinar on the future of AI-enabled smart cities and what this means for eThekwini specifically. I think we'll hear a lot about what is being done globally, what the future looks like, and ultimately I think the stakeholders that are in this room that need to charter the course for AI going forward. Prof. Ngubane, I think, spoke about and higher the important role that higher education plays within integrating in enabling our citizens and particularly our youth to be able to meaningfully participate in this process. I think the other aspect is also at school level. Um, we really need to play a role in ensuring that at, from an educational perspective, right from early childhood development to university or TVET colleges, there's a continuous uh, um, skilling of our youth. And I see a comment. I'm just going to read this comment in the chat by Ashok Haridwar. And so he said the introduction of enabled cities must be initiated from grassroots level and not as a top-down approach. This would ensure we are adequately equipped to respond to matters appropriately and not have AI telling us what's wrong and we there do anything about it. And I think that's critical. AI is an enabler. Making the decisions. It should be informing us, ensuring that municipal officials are better informed and are equipped to develop better solutions rather than, yeah, I think looking at it as something that needs to come through from the grassroots level. I see another statement, Prof. Ngubane's statement of how AI can be used in city operations is exciting. I am interested to know how can AI be used to strengthen health systems, and that's coming through. Certainly, in reading that I've done ahead of this webinar, it has tremendous application within the healthcare sector. And another comment from Deni Nkobo, we have to invest in skills. It's not just about education anymore. How will government and business collaborate? I think critical comments and it's building on the same theme that to enable AI to be used for the betterment of society. It's critical that we empower our citizens. So it's coming now to the keynote address. So the keynote address will be given by Professor Soon A.E. Chun, who's at the government lab at New York University. I'm not going to go through her because she's the public affairs officer at the U.S. Consulate office in Durban, part of the U.S. mission to South Africa, and I'm going to ask her to introduce our keynote speaker. But just to say, I think we are really honored and privileged to have Professor join us this afternoon and speak to us around AI. Jacqueline, let me hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you and see you.
Let's see. All right. Hopefully you all can hear me. It is a great pleasure to represent the U.S. Consulate as well as the U.S. Embassy, the entire mission of South Africa on this important occasion in terms of having this discussion in KwaZulu-Natal. First, let me thank our partners, the Queenie Municipality, Innovate Durban, as well as Dr. Shun for being here as one of our panelists today. In a previous iteration of my particular job, I was an innovation officer for the the executive secretariat of the Department of State, that is our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the equivalent of DERCO. And what I focused on and often said to my colleagues in supporting foreign policy is that our technology and our use of technology needs to be human-centric as much as it needs to be innovative. So I am very excited to hear the conversations that are going to be held today in terms of how we use technology in the work of governance, whether it is foreign policy, domestic policy, local governance. There are infinite, I think, use cases for technology, and it is important that we get to share that information across country borders, across so that we can learn best practices as partners in the city of Taquini as a partner. This being brought big on partnership. Wonderful people that we've had who participate in U.S. government exchange programs, who've traveled to the United States and taken those lessons learned, brought them back in government and nonprofit universities. And I tell my partners often that we as far as I'm concerned, in the mission, we get to connect South African citizens with American citizens across the board at the cultural level, at the academic level, and in this case, in the technology sphere. So it is a great pleasure. I just want to confirm that we do have Dr. Shun on the line. I know we were having some technical difficulties, but I'm going to go ahead with her bio and then turn it back over to the program director because this is going to be a facilitated discussion as well. Prof. Sonashi Shun is a research fellow at the government lab at the New York, where she has duties as both a professor and the director of systems and information programs at the City of New York College at Staten Island. And she's a professor of computer science, PhD, programs and data science, master's program at SUNY Graduate Center. Her expertise areas include data management, data analytics, machine learning, and knowledge-based approaches. She conducts applied research in digital government, public health, and information security and privacy, issues that are of keen interest in South Africa. She's currently working on design models and strategies for smart cities, machine learning models to monitor online disinformation, trolls, and toxic content, the AI innovations and open data platforms, and privacy risks to citizens. She's the founding co-editor and chief the ACM Digital Government Research and Practice Journal, DGov. These are just some of her many outstanding qualities and credentials in the IT and technology and space. So with no further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the program director to confirm that we have Dr. Shun on the line. Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Chun. Okay, apologies, colleagues. I think we're just trying to sort out the technical glitches.
Now I think I was able to, yeah. Can you see me okay?
Okay, great. Yes, we can say. Please go ahead, Prof.
Okay, thank you so much for the intro by Jocelyn, and also for the host, Dr. Marahaji. And it's my pleasure to be online. How do I share my screen? Let me take a quick look. Can you turn on the share screen slide option as well? Because sharing is not able. Okay, very good. Hide, share content, presentation mode. Yes. Okay. Now what do I do? Share. I did it. Can you see my screen? Anybody? Can you see my screen, please? Yes. Hello.
Not yet. Oh,
Not yet. Okay.
Oh, that's the
Did
problem.
Do you see my screen now? Yeah.
Not as yet. Can you stop sharing, Prof, and then reshare?
Okay, 1 second. Hold on a second. It says it's share over here. I am okay, there is a presentation mode and the contents only. So now where do I click on it? I just click on it, this one, right? Contents only or stand out? Yeah, stand out maybe good. Let me see. Can you see my screen or not? Hello? I don't hear.
No, not as yet.
Okay, screen. Okay, screen share. Okay, maybe that's
I think we seeing your screen at the moment.
right with the Teams, right?
Yes.
Screen. Okay, how about
Yeah,
this
it's a
one in the
team.
background?
Yeah, that's better. I think perhaps if you put it on presentation.
Can you see new solutions, the cover page?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So I will go ahead with this. Let me minimize this one so that you can have a sort of full screen, but I don't want to go into the presentation mode because it might also mess up. So great to see you all, and thank you for organizing all this, and especially Winnie municipalities officials with all the efforts and having me as the speaker. It's a great honor to be here. And today's I will just share some of the smart city cases, but this may be. People might think AI as the thinking of ChatGPT is an AI, but AI has been there forever. So I would like to take AI as a data analytics tool rather than having more. Of course, it is more than analytics. It has intelligence embedded in it. But we will talk about some of the cases and then some of the generative AI that ChatGPT and others we might talk. We have talked about, and then some of the risks and some trustworthiness. Sorry that. And then we will talk about some governance of AI and these things. So smart city, as you know, is we are trying to make all the set of applications and innovations that make our cities much more livable and sustainable and accessible and more efficient and so on. But it is at the end of the day, when we try to make this smart city, we are using information and communication technologies to improve our quality of our services and citizens, welfare. So many different areas are being considered as smart city efforts and smart environment, mobility, security, as well as government and education, and then economy and living and health, or all these other major areas are being talked about in a smart city context. Okay, so there are a lot of ITs and intelligent machines are being developed for this kind of efforts. So we cannot go through all of them, but I think there are many smart city cases that has been reported already. So I will go over that one very quickly so that we will, see what's being happened over here. Okay, so in the North Carolina regional water level monitoring data sharing pilot, in that case, they are installing real-time data sharing architecture for heavy rainfall events. So they want to know real-time problems and also proactively respond to this, rainfall events and respond to a stormwater emergency. So, and also Ontario, Canada, they are using under manhole covers, they installed sensors, ultrasonic storm or flood sensors under the manhole covers as well as in rivers that can give us in pipe pressure sensors that can provide, potential water main leaks. And sensors on multiple nearby hydrants can allow them to see the anomalies to pinpoint pipe integrity issues so that they can proactively do the maintenance schedules. So those are the thing. And then Miami-Dade County, they are also using adaptive signal control technology, which will have the traffic flows being much improved using those automated traffic control signals. And emergency vehicle mobility in San Diego, they were actually using the vehicle location technology to make sure these emergency ambulances can go through as quickly as possible so they can clear the intersections of traffic using these technologies. And also smart buildings project in Washington, D.C. is various kind of controllers and meters and devices to inform this is power purchasing agreement, whether should we buy a certain amount of power usage and how much they have to buy, and then this can be also reducing not unnecessary amount of energy power, so they can reduce this carbon dioxide. Also, Virginia Beach, they are talking about Internet of Things sensors to mitigate the sea level rise and flooding that we talk about a little bit later too. And in Tennessee, 911 project is predicting hotspots of accidents. So they have a multiple, this AI model that is multiple perceptron neural network model, and they are analyzing this 911 data to identify accident trends and try to do the mitigation strategies, try to introduce mitigation strategies in time. In LA, digital services to the city residents, they are using chatbots. This was before ChatGPT, but this is nonetheless, they introduced these chatbots for automating a system and social media platforms to assist the citizens. And Kansas City Open Data and Project Portal, here they are having open budget, statements shared with the citizen, and that can be changing the city operations, and then citizens are well informed of that. And Santa Clara, California, they have appeals, the property tax appeals applications are plenty of them. They want to change the properties in certain ways, additions and removals, or change driveways and so on. Those requests are coming in a lot, but this needs to be automated. So they introduced this system where they can have a centralized appeals repository data, and then they can increase their efficiency of handling these appeals cases. Okay. And there are okay, let's go over the Sonoma, California, also assessing coordinated care, empowering self-sufficiency. This is more of, Health and Human Services giving many different kind of services, but they did not know what the fire victims are getting and what kind of services. So if they can integrate all this backend database, they will be able to have a 360-degree view of their citizens for the behavioral health, what kind of services do they get, and public assistance, what kind of services they have. So this is reducing duplication of services and also citizens. So it really gives the citizens, 360-degree view, understanding the citizens who are getting government benefits and who needs government benefits. Okay, so and also Oklahoma City, they have a human services. They use this master person index. It's a similar kind of context, but in medical health, where they can, what kind of benefits do they get in family focused, decision making that they have to make. And another case in Taiwan and South Korea is Taipei. They have come up with this road and pipe information center that is doing real-time monitoring of all the construction works and excavations on the around the city, and then they can submit this kind of request, and then this can be coordinated using the data backend. So even though it is, a lot of work is going on, it's not coordinated, and then people are not informed of what kind of place the construction is happening, what excavation areas will create the congestions in traffic. Those can be monitored and also be informing the citizens ahead of time for this kind of problems, so that they can avoid that traffic going directly facing the problems. So that reduced a lot of unnecessary escalations, as well as informed citizens who are much more happier. In Seoul Metro City, they have these gigantic malls and big supermarkets. Those businesses are thriving, but the neighborhood businesses are suffering. The small shops and then mom and pop stores have many kind of services. The businesses are suffering. So what the policymakers and government and also local business owners combined with the business consulting companies, so what they have built was a kind of a set of services for these local business owners as well as customers, of course. They can locate not only the local businesses in Seoul, that is just the inventory of businesses. However, now those businesses, somebody who's a business entrepreneurial, intent comes into a neighborhood and then see for which area should I go plan a new business. So new business of this kind requires local knowledge, and then this can serve them to do their risk assessment of the new business in that particular locations. Therefore, they can choose the business locations. Okay, so they do the risk assessment for those new business owners, prospective business owners, and also sales and customer trend analysis. So they can go down deep into how many people are purchasing in those little businesses in the local area, and then who are the customers. So not in terms of individual level, but in terms of at least a gender level, age groups level, so that they can have a better business, geared toward a certain demands by certain groups. So that is a kind of services that we can use using the power and analytics over here. Okay? So And in addition to all these individual projects, there is also living lab concept where you have a smart city related technology being developed, and then you have no time to actually test in a real setting instead of having all this automated autonomous vehicles and other smart city that maybe needs to be tested, has to have a real environment. And then this is that concept where they in Georgia they created this curiosity lab, and then that is real world testing environment that they made infrastructure for them to test these autonomous vehicles or other technologies, how they interact with the real situations. Okay. And then, as you know, smart city using digital twins, it's an exact replica of your city. And then you will be able to do a lot of testing on that one before you actually launch a certain policy. You can run simulations as well as some kind of data analytics, such as there are some parameters you can set, population growth, what the city will be like if population grows by 10%. Or public events, when there is a large crowd-related public events, what is going to happen in terms of traffic, in terms of crowd movements, and what happens if a natural disaster, happens. These kind of things are very hard to test in real world, right? And this is where the digital twin can be a good way of testing what if analysis, and then the infrastructure changes can be also modeled, and then see what the impact would be. So before you do. So in order to do that, you have this kind of simulation, 3D replica of cities, and you can do flyby simulations, how the city would look like. And here, digital twin projects from the Switzerland is using real-time situation awareness of traffic and noise and pollution. Heat maps can be also created, and then see how it's like, and piping systems underground can, using radar data, will be able to look at how city will function in those situations. Okay, so, and also real-time people tracking is also possible. Yeah. So in any way, in many cases, this digital twin analysis requires the machine intelligence or data, analytics. There we have been traditionally using the, machine learning and AI algorithms in all sorts of data, but including those aerial photos, images, right? The image technology in AI and machine learning has been, really advanced a lot last, decade, and they can actually recognize buildings and cars and other objects, and they can do lots of intelligence gathering of the cities using those technologies. Okay, so overall, I think a smart city is structured, if you want to look at it as what is it? Architecture point of view. Okay, so in the bottom layer is all the data gathering, collection, sensors, and surveys, or any other things like web data, sensors, surveillance videos, mobile devices that people have. Those can be also data sources. So these are the data sources, and also business database and social media and open government data, right? So government has a lot of data that are shared, and then IoT devices similar to sensors. Those will be collected and then stored and organized. And then, but the organized requires not only just siloed, data, but also they have to be integrated together and linked, semantically, linked, so that each data has a certain values, how they are being contributed together, Okay, so that is a knowledge base based, linking is also may be needed. And in addition, on the data infrastructure, you will have this analytics component where all the actual data, analysis and insights and predictions and the processes that can be automated can be developed in here. Okay, so you can have machine learning, so that you can, instead of having all the data all the time accessed, try to get some insight, you can build a machine learning like AI models or machine learning models, and that is already encapsulated all the knowledge that is needed, and then that can be used for prediction. And also reasoning is a little bit still needs to be a lot more work done. And inference, meaning that once you have a build, you should be able to apply that one to a new case to infer whether something is, you can actually predict on that one. Okay, so there is also simulation related models. So these analytics and these parts are the critical component, and then that has been feeding into this service layer, and as for the end users like citizens and businesses and government officials and nonprofit organizations. All these will have those different what is it, domain areas such as public safety, education, health, and the well-being of the citizens. All these areas rely on this analytics component. Otherwise, they have to dig into the raw data, which is not a good idea. People tend to get lost, especially when we are faced with big data, right? So we really need this intelligent layer, and that is where all the AI and other smart technology is being actually embedded in it, so that we call this one AI enabled component is called super intelligent machines, because they are possessing almost like a human-like intelligence, so that the AI can be impacting this service layer using the bottom layer data infrastructure. Okay, so that is a basic things. But there are many some audience and asked about how do we design this kind of AI-based smart city, and there are different ways of strategies that you can go and do the smart city projects using AI. You can go with the first layer that is being very much exercised most of the cases, a government-centric model. So government is the main player, and then they are the ones who hierarchically decide what needs to be done, which projects and so on. So it is needed. Government is always needed. However, we want to have alternative smart city project that requires citizens' participation. So that becomes much more inclusive, analytics component over there. Even the data gathering can be much more inclusive using this participatory models. Okay, so previously the services are much more, intra-agency within the, organization. You try to support their services and the operations, whereas it can be interdisciplinary. And the insight-based city model is much more now predictive and also much more proactive kind of city model. So we are going, and then data integration part was still not very, integrated for that, but it has a silo city model. But then we would like to go toward the federated collaborative model of the data usage together. Okay, so and then collection model is this one is done through many different sources. So in the fields of AI, people are wondering what's the difference between machine learning, AI, and all that deep learning. What is deep learning, and so on. But this simple diagram may be helpful, so that the AI is anything that the algorithm that mimics the intelligence of humans. Okay, so that can do the complex tasks that humans can do, such as communicating. That's where this natural language processing is a component of AI, and that is been developed in machine learning areas as well. But nowadays, this NLP, the natural language processing, has become much more advanced with the ChatGPT's emergence. Okay, so, and also perception and vision, right? The image processing, and then understanding the some picture object, and then you will be able to draw what kind of objects are there, what kind of interactions are being happening in that picture or in the videos. Okay, so those are rapidly growing right now, and it is very much needed given the little videos that we are publishing on the web, on the social web and any other areas. It becomes much more complex, to understand those videos as a machine. Okay, so that's where we artificial intelligence is working on this particular area. But traditionally, AI is also trying to, emulate a human, intelligence using this knowledge modeling. That means ontologies, because we know the common sense, that the birds are different from four-legged, the other vertebrate animals. So those kind of knowledge modeling or domain-specific knowledge modeling. So those were part of AI. But machine learning is a big component of AI, which is training the machines or the algorithms that are developed to do the kind of model building where machines can encapsulate all the patterns and then trends in the data set, and then it will be generating as a learned model, and that is the one that is used for the deriving inferences about the new cases, such as a fraud detection model. You heard about that one. Just like that, you will have built a fraud detection model based on historical data. And those data has a certain patterns that is being recognized by these algorithms, and that can be encapsulated. So you don't have to compare all the time about the one data coming in and compare with all the data in the backend, but rather this is a model that is already learned. Therefore, it should be able to reason or infer whether it's a fraud case or not fraud case. So in addition to this machine learning, recently that is where all the activities are happening is deep learning. And that is a particular neural network. Neural network, of course, is part of machine learning that has been there for a long time, but because of the computational, the resource limitations, we won't be able to run large models training this neural network. But now with the supercomputers and a lot of data that we have on our hand, which can be machine processable format, digitized version of data. Now we can train this one, and then that's where the ChatGPT belongs. Okay, ChatGPT and those DALL-E, which is the image generation. So there is a using this kind of advanced neural network. It's a layered, thousands of layers in the neural network in training. That is so-called deep learning. In the previous mentioned the perceptron-based neural network, you have a couple of layers inside to train, and then make sure that the model that are generating is good enough. But now with this deep learning, you have layers and layers of different feedback loops being built into it, and you are trying to find model that can really not only just predicting or or forecasting, but also it's generating as if the model itself is like a human being. Okay, so that is the relationship, and then using those things we will build. So what is in smart city in AI field? I would just say that it's an intelligent urban ecosystem. Okay, so we are trying to build intelligent, using the intelligence as an analytical engine, and then it's not only just looking into predictions and other forecasting, but it goes beyond that. We can put those models together. So that is a good idea too, right? So if you have one detection system, another a action system that is being together, it's just like a workflow, that you will be able to have a much more automated system in your smart city project. So it is a mixture of sensors and big data, and then analytics component that requires machine learning and AI to monitor and manage everything, and also proactively act on it for you. Okay, so that is the kind of things that we are envisioning these AI applications in the smart cities in every other aspects which we went through. So it's internally, when you are doing urban planning, we talked about that, and tailored subsidy provision, how to subsidize these services for which group of people. So that can be very diverse groups, and then you have to deal with that using these AIs. And then disaster and disaster management. So you can actually predict disasters, impact beforehand, what kind of impact it might have, and also safety and security and healthcare. Over here, a lot of AI models have gone into it. Smart policing that can be controversial, but nonetheless it is necessary at some point. So they've been using this AI technology already. And personalized healthcare. So here there are a lot of genetic informations, and personalized medicine or drug discovery is very targeted, and then cancer treatment can be also targeted for particular person's environment with the genetics, as well as their habits and behaviors can be gotten into for their drug regimen. Okay, AI for education and citizen participation is also making a big splash right now because of the ChatGPT, as you know. We will discuss just a little on that one. And then AI for economy, of course. Here we would like to have efficient, improve the competitiveness by sharing services. Okay, and then efficient supply chains, that is very important these days. AI for mobility and logistics, right? So here, always the transportation is needs to be autonomous. Trains are already running, but we would like to make that sustainable, and that can be used. And then smart routing and parking assistance can be also done. How the AI can actually park itself, right? Park the car itself, so that it is much more precise than humans actually. So that kind of algorithm can be also enabled, because it has a vision. It has certain control of the machinery in order to park without scratch. AI for infrastructure. So this is maintenance of waste and water management. So the maintenance of let's say all sorts of resources in infrastructure, of let's say bridges, and wastewater management, right? So those, we will go through that example in a minute. And environment, of course, we need to preserve, biodiversity in the area. So we will keep track of those biodiversity, and then you can see the impact of growth and the shrinkage of those animals and other entities, and then you will be able to see whether you need to do external management on that. Air quality management, so those are smart farming is one area that we can talk about. So in water management, I think Winnie has some water related issues that I heard, and that can have those AI can be used, using AI is being used in many cases in water management, especially they use sensors, monitor water quality in real time. By doing that, you can use, that data that being monitored can be used for many different, applications. Those detecting leaks in the water infrastructure, water consumption optimized so that you can see meters, and then see where there may be issues and predict flood and mitigate their impact. So those are some of the areas that the AI being used. For example, in Dutch water authorities and tech companies and research institutions, has collaborated so that they can gather data from various sensors such as temperature data, pH. So these are sensors that can actually measure the temperature of water and pH levels and turbidity and chemical levels and so on. So by having a real-time view of these water quality parameters, that they can identify some kind of patterns and trends, and they can detect the increase of some harmful toxicity or some harmful agents being growing, and they can do the preventive actions for that. Okay, so by doing this kind of where and when water quality issues are likely to happen, they can actually focus their resources better. And flood prediction is another area that requires a close eye on, especially these days with climate changes. There are many more severe weathers are being detected, and early detection of this flood coming and managing those these are essential. Okay, so this is using this AI-powered flood forecasting system in India, which is suffering from flood very frequently and very severely. And they use this system that is a combination of machine learning and also hydrological model and up-to-date weather forecast data to predict areas at risk of flooding. Okay, so this early warning system is also built in this local area where I worked as part of the team. That over here, and this particular area is it used to be New York City's, garbage was being dumped, but they are trying to restore that area because it's an urban estuary with a lot of little rivers that are contacting this Atlantic Ocean, and then little rivers flowing into this area, and that can be a very good biodiverse region. So we want to protect and clean up. So that was 2 missions. And then what they did was they installed this kind of sensors, and we will be able to look at the water level and then the water quality parameters. And then using those web-based systems, you will be able to monitor each sensors and what kind of readings are being done. And then using those actually in the Hurricane Sandy, when it came, it was able to actually see by hour how the immersion, the the inundation was progressing. Okay, so that can actually see the 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. in that region. As you can see, the land area is being immersed, and these things are being already projected in a way that you have 100-year flood maps are already existing. They know that they have an at-risk area. However, how they are actually being progressing during the rainfalls and the storms are hitting, and those things can be actually notified, not only emergency crews but also citizens, and they can be prepared. So their notification is done, and then all the this kind of not only just looking at the individual readings, but also they can have much more analytical view of all the areas. Okay. So leaks management. So this is one company, Fractal, is water and also city of this Tennessee and water resource department of the city is working together. And then what they built was the machine learning model to predict likelihood of a pipe failure in water distribution system. Okay, so they have a leak sensors and pipe metals and age of the pipe and the diameter, and then historical leak data is being collected throughout. And then using those, they can build AI models that can predict where the leaks might be likely to occur. Okay, so that the accuracy level was reaching 69%, which is much more than the manual inspection and in the industry. Okay, so that allows for proactive maintenance scheduling, and those are some good examples of where the AI is being used. So here, smart metering here in the individual house has a metering that can collect the data of water usage, water going in, water, and so those are being measured, and that can be reported to this repeater, and that goes to the the data center in the collector area, and they can do sophisticated predictions as well as situational awareness analysis of that. And also leak sensors over here is also attached to the meter box or to the main water main area, and then you can detect the frequency changes in main line or the service line to the individual house that can actually tell whether there is a frequency changes drastically that shows the warning of the predicting some water leak incidents. Okay, so of course in water treatment is also collecting data such as pressure, flow rate, and so on, and then it can be used for the main some kind of membrane fouling in this desalination plants, and they can detect such things. This is UC Berkeley study. And then optimizing the chemical dosing process. In other words, how much chemical do we have to put in order to treat the water, and then we should be able to do that so that the unnecessary amount of chemical do not have to be wasted, right? It has to be proper level in time, so that can minimize the use of chemical and reduce the chemical, the environmental footprints, meaning that the environmental impact is less so. In Singapore, using AI to optimize the energy usage of water pump in water treatment, so that requires a lot of energy use, and then that can be monitored, and then the energy is not wasted in the process. In the Denmark, AI is used for identifying and quantifying microplastic in wastewater. That has been a big problem, and then it's very hard to do that manually. And this automated system can actually be built using this images, right? You can actually have microplastic, detection system. Okay, so that is an AI system that can be used for using a lot of microscopic, quantity using, what is it? AI technologies of understanding this microplastic. Similar to that, that is accurately, excuse me, quantifying how much microplastic is in the wastewater, and then they can reduce the pollutants. Okay. So that one is done, and then treated water quality can be predicted by removing those things or wastewaters that are being processed, and then that can be almost to the drinking water quality level. So they are doing the quality checking so that they will be able to reuse this wastewater. Similar to that one, this one is a clean water AI. That is another individual effort, and then entrepreneurial, company is using microscopic camera. So they are taking photos of this water, and then whenever, and then the deep learning model in the neural network, the one that the artificial neural network is being built to detect dangerous bacteria or harmful particles in water. So when you are traveling somewhere and then you are very sensitive in the water, then you can use this kind of device, or this they are trying to make it as a part of a product, as a device that can scan the water, and then they will be able to actually identify whether they have dangerous levels of bacteria in it. Okay, so that's that. So now going into more ChatGPT or generative AI. So this previous AI models are detecting, predicting, and those are very good, right? However, this new generation AI is equipped. In addition, they can have this generative capability. What does that mean? This is machine learning that can be trained on lots of text, as you know, input data, and then they will be able to generate the text or some kind of language in a human-like fashion. Okay, so that can predict text. So this model, this as a group, it's called the large language model, and ChatGPT is one of the trained model of that large language model. And then there are many other models by the Meta, Llama, and by Google, Bard, you heard about that, or Palms too. And then there is a Hugging Face, the open source organization. There is also Bloom. So these are all large language models that are trained on the text input, and you can generate text as an output, or it can be embedding that model to further processing. So that's where it's generating to. We can chain this model to another application as a language processed model over there. Okay. So what can it do? So of course it can generate some content, right? So content creation is very good. So it's using content blogs. So you can imagine your users, using this ChatGPT, creating contents for blogs, articles, and marketing materials, product descriptions, and so on. So this is very good and good at that. And it can assist with the research, topic ideas, even write a letter, right? So that's a good thing. And also it can summarize all the different kinds of input. If you you have 10 documents that you would like to read, and then you're having trouble, then you will input those, and then you will be able to get a summary out of it, which is easier to understand the main points of the text. And speech recognition can be done. So faced with large, quantities of documents that many government officials are tackling every day, can be used, this one, immediately to sort them out in different types of documents, and then you will be able to respond appropriately, more efficiently. Okay, so and then speech recognition can be done now. Voice can be used for transcribing the spoken words into text, and then the text coming back, and then you put it into voice, and then it talks back to you. So it is more conversational tools can be developed using this one. And then translation, of course, you can translate. So you can imagine your web content needs to be translated in many multiple languages, can be done rather easily using generative AI technology like ChatGPT. So you can imagine you can build, as I mentioned, chatbots for your information purposes. Not only for the citizens. Citizens also need information about COVID, vaccination, tax time inquiries, frequently asked questions, kind of things can be done now easily using this generative AI like ChatGPT. And finding personalized service options. So my situation and your situation may be quite different in terms of, let's say, I'm trying to open a new business, but in different types of new business, whereas yours are going to be public. So that individual, preferences can be, considered, and then generate the content accordingly. Okay, and it also helps the government internal operations, having multiple units, informations together, and then you will be able to summarize those things, or you can collaborate easily using this ChatGPT related, applications. Or it can be also used on onboarding new, so you are training new employees, and then you can use ChatGPT for the routine kind of contents that you've been delivering to the employees, and then have an intelligent conversation. The new employee may have different kind of questions, and then that can be easily, use the ChatGPT to answer that. So the as I mentioned, the users' requirements are quite different from each other. So here, Mary and John has both entrepreneurial business owners, and they want to open a business, and then one of them is a sole proprietary and a convenience store and no employees, whereas John is an incorporated company he wants, and then auto body repair shop, and then at least 3 employees, and there is a enterprise zone area that he's going to establish that business. So their tasks that are related to their business opening requires quite different. For John, which is incorporated this auto body shop in the enterprise zone, has many more steps that needs to be done. That is across different types of units in different state, okay, in different agencies in the state, like a Secretary of State is involved, DEP, Department of Environmental Protection agencies, Labor Department has to be involved, and so on. So these are all kind of things that can be actually generated for John, for Mary, a custom tailored steps or descriptions of what needs to be done using those ChatGPT. So that's task management also can be used. Scheduling and the to-do list can be email campaign for your what is the city's policy that you want to share with citizens. You can be custom tailoring those emails for the citizen. And you are also doing, as a government official, so social media management that needs to be managed using ChatGPT can be done very easily. And also content generation in terms of the comments and messages that you are you need to respond from the citizens. You get the comments and messages often we are ignoring because we don't have time to respond, or we don't know what to do. So ChatGPT can be a immediate response, and even conversations are possible. So people are much more thinking that you are closer, government is closer to the citizen who needs help, okay? And many kind of knowledge that you accumulate in your organization can be utilized and for your daily task. But these, these are some of the, very, very little glimpse of, new generative AI. But as you know, there is a new generative AI for the images and voices are coming out. DALL-E is another one, creatively creating it's creatively making the drawings for you by input text, right? So those things are all will be somehow utilized in in the next smart city projects here and there, right? So we still need a lot more exemplary models that are being that are employing these kind of technologies. Okay, but as you know, the generative AI like ChatGPT has powerful capabilities, but on the other side of the coin is some issues. Okay, so the risks that it might create is cybersecurity. Of course, it can generate a lot of malware. It's not only generating text messages, but you can code some malware and easily, right? So a lot of these untrained, cyber criminals can a lot of support from ChatGPT to develop this kind of tech, code. And misinformation or disinformation, this is fake news kind of things can be generated by the ChatGPT. It's not only just, real. So if you type in ChatGPT your name and, try to describe this person, it'll give you a very rosy, or very different, kind of description that you expected. Okay, so there is some good, fact-based, information most of the time, but it has also, laced with something exaggerated, something that did not happen. Okay, so you are being served as a president of certain, organization, which is not true. So those are so-called hallucination. So that the hallucination is a big problem of this ChatGPT. The facts versus the real versus the non-factual information that's been generated is a big problem. But intentionally, some people might generate, biased contents or derogatory contents, and spreading those malicious information. That is misinformation problems that we are daily, encountering these days, right? So that is a big problem, and it can be done in a very massive way with generative AI like this, tools. And privacy concerns in the beginning when AI, the ChatGPT came out. Italy has prohibited this, use of ChatGPT throughout the whole country because they think their method of collecting data to train this large language model was not consented, and then it includes children's, data that is not supposed to be there. So we don't know exactly what kind of, data is being used and what kind of privacy laws are being incurred in this training part, okay, the data part. So, and also, if you are sharing something within the conversation of this ChatGPT, those you should consider as non-private anymore, okay? So that can be incorporated into somebody else's, answer, and that reveals a lot more than what's necessary. So that's also possible. And job loss, we talked about that earlier, that this ChatGPT kind of things automated, especially routine kind of scheduling. Those things easily can be now replaced with with ChatGPT applications. So we need to react or have some kind of provisional, strategies to avoid this kind of job losses. Although ChatGPT kind of area opens a lot more job prospects as well. Okay, so the people who can quickly will be able to utilize this ChatGPT kind of skills to develop that's needed, what is it, applications. That skill set may be also useful. So you might need a lot of job training within your organizations for those. And business contracts, those are trade secrets might be included, and then that can be also shared once you share with ChatGPT. So those are big, some of the categories by one source. Another source like Forbes also talking about bias, security, privacy, disinformation, cybersecurity, ethics, and these kind of issues as something that we have to, work on together. Okay, so AI-driven intelligent society or smart city became like intelligent, city, and that is nothing but all these, devices, sensors, and hyperconnectivity. Those are connected with each other, and that generates data, and then that can be done with lots of intelligent analytics, tools, including AI and generative AI. And then that becomes knowledge and decision support, but that decision can be either automated. Some routine ones can be automated. Some of them requires a human input or human feedback, so that it does not go ahead and then do certain decisions that you did not anticipate. Okay, so lots of issues, surveillance issues. We already have, suffered from that. Privacy issues like video surveillance is a big problem in the society, and profiling and behavioral tracking. Previously, we talked about 360-degree citizen, view for the benefit receivers. Those are good. However, imagine that ordinary people are being, analyzed in different ways in 300 degrees, you will feel less of comfort. Okay, so data contamination, the disinformation, and intelligent machines themselves have some problems. So we will talk about these two quickly. That is creating a trust of whole society issues. Okay, so I don't know how much time I have, but I will please stop me. Okay, so as you know, trust in people, somebody who lies to you, who's not, fair or a biased person who's, doing hate kind of, generation of your, conversation. You don't trust those people, right? Just like that. These days, all the organizations like law or business or government, these are all mediated through the information systems, right? Because it's a digital society, the more likely that these organizations adopt those systems, and then those systems has to be also trustworthy. Just like individuals, when you're interacting trustworthy, I would like to trust the government because they have exhibited different kinds of characteristics, such as speak non-false, or not spreading rumors. That's a trustworthy behaviors, right? So we would like to build that kind of infrastructure. When you are building your, smart city projects, you have to be mindful of these kind of trust components. Okay, so I'm keep getting some. Yes.
I think that's a great place to stop, although it's a little awkward as a government representative to stop on trust, but it's important. So I think I'll turn it back over to the program director so we can open up the discussion.
Sure. Thank you. So I'll stop sharing.
Great. Thanks so much for that, Prof. June. I think I was so engrossed in your presentation that we forgot about time as well. But I think, we'll go straight into the panel discussion now. And I see there are some questions in the chat. So we'll start to address those as part of the panel discussion. I think if I could just very quickly introduce the other panel members, and once I introduce you, if you could please put your camera on as well. We've got Prof. Mpilo Ngubane. I've introduced him previously. Mr. Tami Manyati, who's the acting Deputy City Manager responsible for human settlements, infrastructure, human settlements and infrastructure at eThekwini. Mr. Robert Lamini, who's the Chief Information Officer. And I just want to see if Mr. Mduduzi Mkleche is still with us. I know he had some time constraints. He's the Deputy Head Applications and Projects, also at the city's Information Management Unit. Let me just check. Oh,
Sorry,
thanks.
Ajib is no longer available.
He's not. Oh, okay, great. Sure. No problem. I think, colleagues, thanks so much for joining and being part of this panel. You've heard the presentation. I think so many implications for us as the municipality, and very, very practical things as well. And that's what I liked, I think, about the presentation. It's, how do we take these real world issues and address them using AI as a support tool for creating a more livable city. Things like disaster management, flooding. We've had really bad incidents of flooding. So let me start firstly by one question to Mr. Tami Manyati. Tami, I think we've heard a lot of the issues that Prof has spoken around infrastructure issues, and as eThekwini, we have a lot of infrastructure challenges as well. Whether it's maintenance, leak detection, and generally using AI to solve service delivery challenges. How do we use AI to address our infrastructure challenges as the municipality? Okay, I'm not seeing Tami.
Okay. Are
you there, Tami?
Yeah. I'm here.
Oh, great. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Please go for it.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to be part of the discussion this afternoon. And thank you, Professor Chun. Very interesting listening to your presentation. In fact, a lot of it sounded familiar because my area of involvement includes transportation. It includes your infrastructure and some of the flood prediction work. Part of my team is involved in that as well. So I think from the city's point of view, when you look at your mobility related or transportation related service areas, Ajib, we've been dealing with intelligent transportation systems for quite a while. We in terms of management of our traffic signal network, we've got a lot of technology there, performance management, even being able to fix faulty traffic signals remotely, because of the communication links that are there. Pavement management systems, although up to now have required periodic surveys, as input, in order to then work out how or which parts of the network needs to be prioritized and so on. We're looking at advancing that so that we get a lot of ongoing feedback data that will keep updating the model, and we don't have to rely on these massive surveys that are done periodically. There was mention of the need to deal better with the excavation where he lives. In fact, my team has just completed the development of an application that is going to help us improve on that particular aspect, because up to now, it's been largely a manual system, but we're soon going to be moving and automating it to an extent, and in that way then further improve how we manage traffic overall in the city. I think another area where we've quite advanced is around public transportation. The monitoring of public transportation vehicle movement, which then informs the scheduling, and is going to become part of the information system, so that passengers know, when to to go to the bus stops or stations, and know when the next bus and so on is going to arrive. So we've got to look a lot of the makings, of a smart setup, and we certainly, do benefit and can benefit more, from artificial intelligence, moving forward. It is helpful that when you look at the automotive sector, by its nature, it spends a lot of money on research and development, so that in the days of old, you relied on your detectors, and then you'd reflect the information for motorists on variable message signs, which were highly dependent on location. But these days, you don't need all of that infrastructure, and you have far more accurate information that through your GPS, your navigation system, and so on, becomes readily available. I think for us as public authorities, what is key is that we ensure that the infrastructure that is available can actually take advantage of all of that information. In my current position, I'm looking after human settlements as well. I think that is the one area where I didn't hear a lot of mention in terms of what is taking place there. And in a way, my line of inquiry at the moment, it also links to the issue of water losses. I think there was mention of improving on the detection of water leaks and so forth. But I think for us as a city, what is one of the key contributors to water loss is, in fact, in water that is utilized in informal settlements. I think when people do not have formalized structures for accommodation, but they need to come closer to the economic opportunities here in the city. So I think in South America, these are favelas, and they get given different names in different parts of the globe. I think for us, and for me especially, it is important that we start understanding better how what are the key triggers of these informal settlements, so that as we move forward, we can predict where they are likely to spring up. So we've just assembled a team that is going to be designing a predictive model that is going to be looking at various triggers, be it maybe linking to the development applications that you mentioned, Professor Chun, because some of those actually you know that they're going to require access by workers and so forth. So at the same time that you're assessing the other impacts, being it environmental, be it traffic related, we're wanting to bring in another element which is going to go toward establishing to what extent the accommodation that is available around that development is adequate, and if it's not adequate, how likely it is that it could then result in informal settlements springing up there. I think we're going to be looking around. We've seen some work that is being done in Canada, in this area. But for me, it is a very important aspect for us to pick up, because being in a position as a city and as a country to accommodate our people a lot better than we're currently doing is going to go a long ways in improving livability in the cities and improving the quality of life. I think colleagues that are in the water sector, I hope they've taken some notes in this particular instance, that technologies are there to improve our ability to design solutions. What has been an issue in my experience in the public sector oftentimes is that we battle to create consensus around what solutions need to be implemented. And even when we have agreed on what solutions to be implemented, we battle to ensure that there's a commitment which is long lasting to allow that solution to be implemented. It would seem to me that the similar concerns would apply when it comes to artificial intelligence. That we would need to be quite clear about what enablers have to be in place to create the foundation for long-term deployment and long-term development. At this stage, I would say that we've got a long way to go. I think earlier on in his input, my colleague Robert Lamini indicated that we are in an embryonic stage. Yes, indeed, I agree with that. But what becomes an important question to then address immediately would then be identifying those enablers that we need to put in place so that we move beyond the embryonic stage and start the real development for the city, because it is true that relying on traditional methods of assessing problems, designing solutions is not going to take us far. We do need to identify some of these tools, technologies, and otherwise that will enable us to find solutions quickly, implement those solutions quickly, and ensure that the benefit to the citizens are realized quickly as well. I will stop there. At the moment, Ajif. Thanks.
Thanks for that, Tommy. I think, and the point you make also, I think, very well taken, is that we're not starting from zero. There is a lot that has been happening, and I think from the Professor Chun's presentation as well, a lot of the information is there. The data is there. It's things we have been doing. It's questions around what is our data architecture in terms of integrating the data? How do we make it available and for analysis? And yeah, so with that in mind, I want to move to Robert and maybe pose that question to you, Robert, in terms of how can cities ensure the accuracy and completeness of data to be used for AI applications? How do we ensure that basically we able to integrate the data? We have this platform created upon which AI could be built.
Thank you, Ajif. I think the audience has had enough of my pretty face, so I'm not going to put on the camera. And look, the issue of data and the application of AI is very crucial because without the data, actually, you can't really use AI. So data collection is very important. And it's important that you as an organization, you have proper data governance frameworks that are going to define the data, ensure that the data is actually integrated. If you have disparate systems, make sure that the data, you've got ways to integrate that data. But on top of that, while talking about the data, it's important that you also take into cognizance the issues of data privacy. So you also need to make sure that the data has integrity and is actually protected in a sense that you don't end up exposing personal data. You aggregate the data to a level where it's required. I think as a city, specifically, there's still a lot of work to be done in that because we haven't really paid too much attention in making sure that we apply the proper data governance, including the classification of data that we have. And on top of that, for us to collect the data, we need to have the means. If you're talking infrastructure, for instance, you wouldn't be able to use AI in an environment where you don't have the sensors that collect the data. So in applying AI, data becomes very important. I'm not sure if I'm covering your question in totality, Ajif, but yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, sure. Thanks, Robert. No, I think you've addressed that question, and I'll come back to the issue on data, the ethical and the privacy issues, because I think there have been some questions in the chat around that as well. But before we get there, I think I want to go to Prof. Ngubane. Prof, I see questions being asked in the chat around relating, to the future of work, the future of our employees, whether it be within the municipality, but also in other firms, the same kind of challenges are there. How do we make sure that we riding the IA wave rather than being drowned by it? Because I think the potential is there for it to result in job losses. How do we make sure that our employees are skilled and we able to use AI for our benefit, but minimize the kind of negative impacts of it? Prof?
Thanks, Ajif, and thank you very much, Professor Chun, for your very interesting presentation. It was insightful indeed. Firstly, it's true that we are likely to have quite a number of jobs that are going to be lost due to AI. But at the same time, there will be new jobs that will be created. But as it is now, unfortunately, the balance has not been struck in terms of the equivalence of what we will be losing in relation to the new jobs that are going to be created. At this stage, because we are talking about future jobs and is uncertain, we still have more jobs that are going to be lost than the new jobs that are going to be created. But I can assure you that at some stage we are going to create or to arrive at a balance where we are able to replace almost all the jobs that we have currently by future jobs that are related to AI. What is important as an approach and a strategy to ensure that we don't feel the impact of job losses is reskilling. We need to reskill our staff. I have always made this simple example to say, in the city, for example, we have these people that we call messengers that we use for driving around, moving documents from one office to the other, looking for signatures and so on. And what we have done is to identify all of those people, and then we are going to train them to be the drone pilots, which will be used for the same purposes. In other words, instead of them physically moving documents around, they will be staying where they are and just pushing those documents through the drone. So it's still the same job. The only thing that you have changed it and you have aligned it with the future. I also want to indicate that as a city, we have begun to partner with different units or departments or functions to say, how do you turn around your specific function to be futuristic in terms of alignment to artificial intelligence? Just give an example of what we are going to be doing with Metropolis, which is the project of smart policing. It's very interesting, but the concept is that all of them are going to participate in the smart policing project, but will have an intensive retraining program for them. For example, that package consists of electronic fine management system, which means they will no longer be using the booklets, those little booklets with the fines for fining vehicles and so on. But it will be an electronic where they will be carrying a gadget which they are going to use to pick up whatever information of irregular driving or whatever the case is. And linked to that, for example, is going to be all our police officers are going to have body cams, body cameras to gather evidence so that you don't have a situation with a pen on a piece of paper and it gets lost or is not recognized by the courts of law and so on and so on. And linked to that, again, is a project of vehicle recognition system where the registration numbers of a vehicle are able to give you, for example, the fines that that vehicle has accumulated, whether the disc has expired, and all of those things. And another one, which is also very interesting, is in terms of the weapon identification system. Say, for example, a Metropolis is robbed and they take his or her weapon. It will have a chip, just like your cell phone, which is able to tell you where it can be located at a time, and you'll be able to trace that up to the point where it is located. So if you look at that, it sounds very interesting, but I can tell you that the whole 4,000 Metropolis officers are going to be trained and retrained on this, which means we're not going to get even one single job loss in that workforce because we have packaged it nicely that everybody will be able to benefit from it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Prof. I think that sounds really brilliant in terms of the what's proposed, what's being rolled out. So I want to come back to Prof. Chun. I think your presentation I think has inspired many people. I've just been keeping an eye on the chat and in terms of the comments and so forth. The one thing I want to perhaps ask a little bit more around, and I've been seeing questions in the chat and comments, is around the ethical considerations and the privacy issues. Back in 1949, George Orwell wrote his famous novel 1984, which talks about Big Brother watching, and in certain parts of the world, you see elements of that being playing out. But how do we make sure that we balance, we get the right balance in terms of the need for data and AI, but balancing that with privacy and ethical issues?
Yes, that's a big problem that everybody has currently aware of the problem, but not the significant, one solution. But it's very much on their own in areas that they are developing. They are trying to, address this, ethical issues such as biases and discriminations. We have a law. There are different types of, mechanisms that we can rely on. Of course, the regulations, right? The policies that are being in place currently. For instance, job, employment issues. Nowadays, the AI systems actually filtering out and recognizing which, candidate actually should be selected for an interview or even hired. Okay, so that kind of decision making is efficient from the employer's point of view, but it can be, discriminating certain, group of people unintentionally. There may be unintended consequences, right? So they are looking for skills only, therefore it's lacking, therefore they are not selecting, but that's their justification. But from the end user's point of view, it can be considered as a discrimination. So we have this, the regulatory anti-discrimination laws and hate crimes and these things are in place. However, it's very hard to exercise those laws against these AI systems. So that is a big problem. So we are trying to, so the balancing of this, the need. For instance, in our judicial systems in court, the judges and the court, the employees are struggling with who to give, parole decisions, right? Who can be released with, for the time being and so on. So those are very challenging ones. But when they employ it and also projecting, that depends on, their prospect of committing crimes again. Okay, so that is a recidivism, and then that can the system that they have developed was a Canvas system, and that is actually filtering out who might be committing crimes within let's say 3 years. That kind of prediction models are available. However, it's very hard to use that one because it has that elements of discrimination. That more than necessary black criminals are more likely to be predicted as a recidivizing crimes and so on. So those systems have to be configured. So there are technical effort is that the data that they are using can be biased. So therefore, in data level, they have to make sure all different types of groups are represented equally or fairly. Okay, so those are one approach. And of course, the algorithm itself has to be also be a little bit more explainable. So in other words, algorithm, when they are deciding this job selection or recidivism, it should give us understandable decisions, understandable reasons why they made the machines can made that kind of particular decisions, whether this person is likely to be recidivized or likely to, commit crimes in a few years or and so on. So this kind of explainability and also data fairness, the data representativeness. So those things are being worked on in a technical level. In the data collection, they are mindful of all the different types of representative of different groups are being represented. So more inclusive, data collection is necessary. And also from there, if it is still very minor, then they can do the algorithmic, balancing of the data set by resampling those data several times for the minority groups. So those are some of the technical things. And then the explainability is a big issue. And all the company, all the government, EU, related policy, GDPR is also it started with a privacy related regulation, but it's expanding. It's risk assessment needs to be done in terms of explainability as well. So they are trying to include that any AI system that are being used should be able to give a reasonable explainability of the decision that is being made. Okay, so that is another effort. So you can have this kind of data collection as well as algorithmic decision making to be more transparent needs to be be done. And those are some two areas that I know of trying to balance that the issues that you just mentioned, the ethical issues. And of course, when you are asking, I tried, some very biased, communication with the ChatGPT, and it refuses to answer. Okay, so they are realizing what the problem might be. So at least they are recognizing the problem of the people trying to make a conversation on very, biased, conversation. So in a way, they are probably doing censorship, if you want to talk about it that way. That's but it's in a way good thing. The dangerous conversations can flourish otherwise. So there are those company level policy that might be also playing a role. It's not just big governmental policies that are being in place, but also the platform companies who are tremendously responsible these days with a lot of information at their hand. They are obligated to exercise certain policies, but then people are also cry against that kind of policies, saying that they are trying to suppress the freedom of speech and so on. So there is a very, very thorny things that we have to sort through. This conversation will not solve all the problems, but I'm just pointing out some directions that technically it can be done in certain level, but it needs to combine with other efforts like regulations and responsible, companies crying for responsible AI. What that means is they are trying to have those inclusive data, inclusive representation of all that data, and they are trying to make algorithms much more transparent and explainable, at least because this is notorious that the current generative AI or the neural network based AI is all very, very hard to understand because there are thousands or millions of parameters are being set in each model. So how did they make a decision? They themselves don't know. So that's a work in progress in research, and we have to make much more effort on this part. Yeah.
Okay,
And
great. Yeah.
mhm. And
No,
regarding those,
yeah.
I think I would like to make one comment, and maybe we can discuss on that human settlement. That one speaker was mentioning seems to be a big problem in with the Guinea community, and perhaps you might have understandable data, but I think you look at their current situation awareness is the first thing you have to actually tackle. In order to do that, where do they currently, congregating as illegal settlement? Is it all over the place, or is it certain lots that are empty? So those empty lots that are not used, is that where the hotspots that people seems to be congregating? So you have to understand those, trends. And also, I strongly voice, I think he also mentioned it, that the inclusiveness of this, whole AI business to predict where they might be settling and so on needs to, also collect those settlers, opinions. Okay, so that do you have that situation awareness of what's the reason they are moving into a certain area, right? What is their motivation? What is their background, and so on? So I think those human level, tapping into their, needs and requirements needs to be also gathered in addition to those vacant lots that you might have in the database as administrative data. You might have those things in the city, right? So combine those things, you might be able to also project or predict what might be the next hotspot for these settlers. And then what is the impact? So those impact analysis can be done using those, as I mentioned, the simulation models. Or so in that case, is there any water leak much more, water loss much more in those hotspot areas, right? So and then you can sort of correlate those things, and then you might be able to address their needs or predict the kind of places they might be migrating next time more. So I think citizen voice is very important to understand what they really need or what's their motivations. So yeah, that's that. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Prof. Chun. I'm going to ask you one last question, but I'll give you enough time to think about it, because yeah. So basically, I think what it seems in different parts of the world, you have AI tends to be focusing slightly different on the local, depending on the local context, etc. So responding to what the needs are. In terms of Africa, what do you think, from an outside perspective, what are you focusing on in developing, and it's so I'll give you a little bit of time to think about that, because I'll go back to the other panelists and I'll ask them one final question. If I could start with Tami Manyati. If there's one area that you think eThekwini needs to get right in the next 2 to 5 years, where AI could be a problem, maybe, yeah, what should our main focus be for AI in the next 2 to 5 years? Tami?
I'm gonna cheat a little bit here, because look, in my earlier response, I did highlight the area of human settlement as a particularly problematic area that requires solutions, and I believe that if we could crack that particular nut, it would go a long ways in improving the quality of life of our people here. So that look is already registered, but I think closely following on that, I think water is for me a problematic area, and an area that I believe we can find solutions to. I think at the moment, not to be super critical on ourselves, I don't believe that enough is being done to aggressively address the situation around the so-called water losses. I think if we're running a business that is losing more than half of the resource on which it relies as a business, it's a major crisis. So I think for that reason and that reason alone, I do believe that attending to the challenges that we have around water is super critical for the city. I think any investment that we can make there to improve the situation will go a long ways in promoting the financial sustainability of the city. Thanks, Ajib.
Yeah, thanks for that, Tommy. Yeah, I think that's a great response. Robert, if I can ask you the same question, relating to your sphere of influence, what's the one thing we need to get right in using AI in the next 2 to 5 years? Robert?
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Maharaj. Look, I think the basic requirement to actually apply any of the latest technologies is making sure that your connectivity is right and is robust. So we need to ensure that we get our network right, and we also probably need to look at whether we introduce an IoT network, whether outsourced or our own. But to implement AI, we have to make sure that the network is robust and stable.
Great. Yeah, I think, spot on. Professor Ngubane, if I can ask you the same question.
Thanks, Ajib. I think in terms of the skills of the future, one area for me that will be important to ensure that we align with artificial intelligence is the area of service delivery. Just one example, we are losing a lot of water. Any intervention there in terms of AI will be, for example, in terms of leak detection systems and back office abilities to bypass water leaks at the time of occurrence and so on. That is going to save us a lot of money as the city. But at the same time, we will be able to save costs that are going to be brought back into the improvement of infrastructure itself. For example, you know that one of the reasons why we have major water leaks and also sewer leaks is because of our very old infrastructure. So the savings that we would get from a very effective water leak detection and attention system can be plowed back into new infrastructure that is going to help us in terms of coping with the challenges that are caused by the old infrastructure. So that is one example in terms of service delivery. But I also wanted to respond. There is one question in the chat box that asks about what are the skills of the future that we need to. Research is telling us that 50% of our current workforce all over globally will need to be reskilled to be able to be adaptable into future skills. Of course, the remaining 50 could have to do with a number of other people who might have acquired those skills already, or some who are going to retire, and so on and so on. But almost 50% of the current workforce will need to go back to school and get new skills. But for example, problem solving. Prof. Chun was talking about that. Problem solving will always be a skill that is needed currently and also needed in the future. But now you will be using machine learning, for example, to solve problems. Therefore, it becomes important that we don't lose the concept, but we look at innovation on how do we approach that particular concept differently now from. Thank you.
Thanks, Prof. Yeah. Okay, let me go to Prof. Chun. Yeah, if we can get your response to the question.
Yeah, it's a tough question. I don't know. I have to tell you the truth that I'm ignorant to a lot of the issues that African continents are going through. But I can definitely list a couple of them, like infrastructure that many of your team already have shared with us. It's a big one. It's not only housing or economy or health. Those are the kind of infrastructure that needs to be addressed in most of the African countries that I hear about. Okay, so I don't know exactly the issues. That's one thing, and another thing is global issues, which is climate changes and climate issues. And I don't know how much people really is suffering from it, but I'm sure it'll be soon be there if it's not there yet. Okay, so that is another one. And but I would like to emphasize our last speaker have emphasized this human development. That is where you can actually, maybe it's not a short-term goals that you might achieve. However, this is the critical area that you have to invest. Understanding the citizens. Citizens' voice is the things that will lead, where your country is heading. Of course, infrastructure is built and nice. As you can see, a lot of infrastructure can be destroyed in a very instant way these days. Yeah. So with one bomb and everything is gone. So yes, however, this human development is taking long time for educating them to be not only just skill sets, but to be more inclusive and more collaborative, more understanding of each other. So those things are very important area that we often, ignore in our smart city development, whatever the development that we are trying to induce this AI, field with the AI tools. So that is one area. In order to do that, you have to understand your citizens' voices, meaning that you have to tap into what their problems are. What do they actually want? Yeah, every interest groups has their own interest, but understanding them and then trying to address some of them in a negotiable way will solve a lot of problems. As I mentioned earlier, those illegal, settlers, do we actually understand their needs, right? So probably, and also this might be related to those infrastructure problem with the water loss that you keep referring to. So is there any correlation, right? So those things we still have to understand, and that the education and skill building. Nowadays, skill building is can be done through the micro credentialing. So it doesn't necessarily have to go back to the university, but you can retrain with the short courses online, and you can arrange those things in a group level, and then you should be able to train them regularly so that it keeps up with the current development in the research and future education. if you think about it, the new generations will be coming with a different kind of background. You have to understand them, and you have to develop their creativity. As Einstein said, the creativity is better than knowledge, right? So, so in that sense, what is as the last speaker just mentioned, what is possible? It's infinitely possible, but if you are, not listening to their creativity, that opportunity that you are providing, I think that might be stunting your imaginable, way. So I think I would like to, emphasize on that part to focus. Yes, it's long term. You need a patience. However, I think short term reskilling and deploying these, current employees to be doing the real tasks, but also long term projection of these citizens' education and their, needs to be heard. So provide infrastructure of citizens talking to you. So I think that'll really give you a great insight on which area to focus on. It's your staff members and officials are well experienced in everything. However, I think in the end you are doing this on behalf of your citizen. Therefore, you have to pay attention to their voices. That's all I would like to say. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Prof. And I'm not going to try and summarize anything from that. I think there's a rich conversation that has happened. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. So, but I certainly will go back and listen to this conversation again, and we will make the presentation available to everyone that attended as well. I've tried to capture all of the questions or the essence of most of the questions. Unfortunately, I think we would have loved to have more time for more interaction. But I think we've had a great conversation and a really enriching conversation. I want to now hand over to my colleague, Justice Maturutse, who's worked at putting this webinar together. He'll give us the final word and close the session for today. Justice, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ajib, and thank you so much, everyone, for taking your time to be with us this afternoon. The most important thing for me, I think, is just, we had over 200 people that were with us today and, listening and are also taking this message, whether it's private business, whether it's municipal employees, all students from the tertiary institutions. We saw a big contingent that are going to take these ideas, make solutions, and start to contribute within the city. And with such a rich discussion, I really want to thank our partners who have made this possible for all of us. First, being the Information Management Unit, led by Robert Lamini, and the team there who are in charge of the IT infrastructure across the municipality. This is physical infrastructure and virtual infrastructure, as well as support services that are, enacted across the city. Second, I want to thank the eThekwini Municipal Academy, led by Dr. Mpilo Ngubane, which is responsible for upskilling employees within the municipality, as well as also leading us on this journey towards being prepared for artificial intelligence. Now, for our partners who actually helped us conceptualize this, and most importantly, bring us a key expert on AI, we want to thank the American Embassy, as well as the consulate in Durban, and the team that is represented in this meeting, representing the U, for helping us to get Dr. Chun, who we also want to thank for her participation. It's been very insightful having her. This is a discussion we've been yearning to have for quite a long time, since the beginning of the year. And we have had discussions with the US government since February this year with Mr. Tula Ngobo, trying to get a keynote speaker of the caliber of Dr. Chun, as you all have seen. So I'm really grateful to you. I want to send my appreciation and the city's appreciation for having here and for you supporting us like this. Then I want to thank also Innovate Durban, which is an entity started by the municipality, which has been working us greatly in collaborating to put the event together, as well as collaborating with the US consulate. There's been important issues discussed, colleagues, key themes around how we can intervene in reducing water losses, how we can upskill our residents and the municipal employees to make sure that they are ready to take advantage of AI and use it in improving service delivery. Also, the key issues around municipal colleagues across the departments and the need for us to make sure that data is ready for AI. The data that we are collecting now through all our administrative processes needs to be relooked at in terms of its readiness for it to be used for AI, and that there are no biases or other issues within the data that will limit the effectiveness of us implementing AI use cases. Citizen engagement as the last point is extremely important, that we need to grow and move forward with our people in eThekwini, and we cannot leave them behind as we adopt AI, and that responding to citizens' concerns and needs is ultimately the goal of the municipality. So I want to thank everyone, participants, as well as speakers and organizers, for taking your time this afternoon for the EDGE seminar. I also want to tell you that we will be sending a post-event survey in partnership with our organizers and partners to everyone, so that you can tell us what topics you want to discuss in the future EDGE events, what speakers you would like, and what themes you want covered. So please take time to respond to the questionnaire post-event when we send it to you, and we will really appreciate hearing from you. Thank you so much, everyone, and looking forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Shun.
Thank you.
This marks the end of the Durban EDGE webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Justice.